Inspired by the life of the savvy and ambitious Colombian businesswoman Griselda Blanco comes a new Netflix original limited series. Griselda tells the story of a devoted mother who, with her lethal blend of charm and relentless savagery, creates one of the most powerful cartels in history. Witness Sofia Vergara's captivating transformation into the godmother of the underworld. Griselda, now streaming only on Netflix.
Listen to the 48 Hours podcast for shocking murder cases and compelling real-life dramas from one of television's most watched true crime shows. Go behind the scenes of each episode with award-winning CBS News correspondents and producers in Postmortem, a weekly deep dive. Listen to 48 Hours wherever you get your podcasts.
Bare naked, bare naked, bare naked, ABCs. Welcome to the Bare Naked ABCs, where we discuss every Bare Naked Lady song alphabetically every week. Guys, it's been a long time since I've seen some of you guys. I mean, you could even say it's been too long. I have been holding on to a joke for you guys. What does not drinking coffee for 7 days make you?
Sober?
Not an alcoholic like me.
I was going to say it makes you tired, but that's all right. I would like to introduce to you today our co-hosts,
Hello.
Heidi, Jeff, and Aaron.
Hi, everyone.
And joining us tonight are the guys from the Weird Alphabet.
It's the Weird Alphabet.
My name is
Daniel Monster.
That was like a ballet.
They're going to do that the whole night. That's how they're going to answer all questions.
Mm-hmm.
It's been so long since
Oh
we've done
boy,
that.
Yeah.
It's gonna be.
You could say
gonna
it's
be
been
real.
1 year?
Yeah, about that.
It's been 56 weeks.
So if you haven't picked up on it, of course, we're discussing the song 1 Week, Bare Naked Ladies' big #1 hit. And Aaron, I've got to ask you, what album is it on?
Well, gee, I'm going to go on a limb here, and I'm going to guess this was off Stunt.
Oh,
okay.
You won. Oh,
Hey,
man.
for half a second, I was worried that I was actually wrong, and I was like, wait, I'm not going insane, am I?
So I'm going to take a moment here before we go on to talk about 1 week, and this might take a week because we have 4 guests this week, but I want to ask our guests what brought... Well, we just lost Daniel.
Oh, wow, okay.
No!
One less guest.
One down. Dan crashed. Yeah, I was just about to say, I didn't want to interrupt you, Tracy.
Oh!
Wow. One less guest. One less guest.
By the way, he just texted that his computer crashed, so his recording is going to be out of sync if we need to do another sync clap.
Yeah, we'll resync him when he comes in. Oh, there we go. Ah, that was quick. That was good.
Yeah.
Wow, we didn't even have a chance to continue without you, Dan.
I know.
Yeah.
If my computer had gone down, it would take about a week for me to get back on.
Oh. But in the meantime, I can ask the rest of you, what brought you to Bare Naked Ladies? Like, what connected you to Bare Naked Ladies? I guess because he's been on before, I'm going to go directly to Michael first.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, I don't remember what my answer was last time, but I'm pretty sure it was just it was mainly my partner, too. Like my partner is a huge Bare Naked Ladies fan, even to the point where they went to go see them in concert, and got like a shirt that says "I Heart the Ladies," and And so wearing that to school, everyone was looking at them kind of like, oh, okay. I mean, at the time they were going by she, and so at that point they were like, oh, lesbian, okay. And so that was kind of what made them the weird one of the school, which of course I love the weird ones. So here we are.
David, what about you? What brought you to BNL?
Well, as I've talked about on the Weird Alphabet before, if anybody has also listened to that, I am not a person who knows a lot of music. My music knowledge is what has been parodied by Weird Al and what has appeared in Rock Band. And I'm pretty sure One Week is the only Bare Naked Ladies song that applies to either of those.
It is.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's weird that they're... as such a pop culture fan and TV fan, they've definitely appeared in a lot of things or been talked about in a lot of things. I'll always remember the community fight about Bare Naked Ladies, which I'm sure you've talked about on this podcast already. And I know that there is another Bare Naked Ladies appearance that is going to come up later in the show that Michael let me know of. So I'll just save that. But aside from that, I don't think I've listened to any of their music aside from 1 week, so I'm coming in as the person who doesn't know anything.
That's okay, because we don't have Stefan this week, and he's usually our person that doesn't know BNL very well, so that works well. Daniel, what about you? What was your BNL journey?
So my BNL journey, I am a product of MTV, so when they became popular in the US is when I heard of them, and 1 week was definitely the song for me that I know of from the Bare Naked Ladies. But then later on, I have definitely done a deep dive into the Bare Naked Ladies, especially since we covered the unaired Bare Naked Ladies pilot episode for their TV show when we covered it for our podcast, How Did This Not Get Made?
Mm-hmm. That wasn't the best side to see of BNL.
It was a comedy show of its time.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. We did a full episode on it too.
There's some bits that are still good though.
Yeah.
Andrew, what about you? What was your BNL journey?
I would say that Bare Naked Ladies kind of was, I mean, it was in the same vein as Blink-182 and all that stuff. Like anytime that I hear songs from Bare Naked Ladies, I just think of Mountain Dew driven game nights during hot summers and in the early 2000s and Smash Mouth and all of these different bands and just I don't know why. I'm wondering if it was on the soundtrack for the game. But there was a BMX game on the GameCube, I think, that I swear one of their songs was on that game, and I'm not sure. I would have to look it up again, but I swear.
Did you ever play any of the NHL live games from EA? Because they did have a song in one of the NHL. Yeah, in one of the NHL games, the game opened with one of their songs.
I could see that. I just distinctly recall long game sessions and this song in particular.
I'll have to look that up because I don't have it in my notes. Doesn't mean it didn't happen though.
If I could amend my answer real quick, because I just had a burning memory flash back to me from my high school time when I think the first person that would have introduced me to the only Bare Naked Ladies song I heard, I'm pretty sure was Michael. Because in high school, Michael did a lot of just random music stuff and video stuff and made this hour-long song mashup that included a dancing bear set to 1 week. And I'm pretty sure that's where I would have first heard the song. So like a lot of things in my life, thank you, Michael.
Yeah, you're welcome, David. I completely forgot about that song. Yeah, I definitely played 1 week in that.
Well, that's a good segue back to our song of 1 week. If you've never heard this song before, why are you listening to this podcast, and how is it that you know BNL? I mean, this was their big hit. But anyways, if you haven't heard it before, here's a quick snippet.
It's been 1 week since you looked at me. Cock your head to the side and said I'm angry. 5 days since you laughed at me, saying get back together, come back and see me. 3 days since the living room. I realized it's all my fault, but couldn't tell you. Yesterday you'd forgiven me, but it'll still be 2 days till I say I'm sorry.
Hold it now and watch a hoodwink. Does it make you stop think? You'll think you're looking at Aquaman. I summon fish to the dish, although I like the chalet Swiss. I like the sushi cause it's never touch a frying pan. Hot like wasabi when I bust rhymes. Big like Leanne Rhymes.
Like I was mentioning, like, this song reached #1, and it was on the Billboard Hot 100 for exactly 1 week. Although it was on the Hot 100, it was in the #1 spot for 1 week. It
was #1 for a week.
It was on the Hot 100 for almost a year, I want to say. It's hard to find those details anymore, but if I remember right, it was like 54 weeks or something along that line. In Canada, it only reached #3 on the top singles chart, which, wow. What's wrong with you, Canada? It hit #1 here. Apple actually used this song when it presented its Mac OS X server on the wall of like 50 Macs. This was the song that it used behind it. And Mitsubishi used this song for a 2002 commercial for its Lancer. So it's been kind of all over the place.
I feel like there was someone who parodied this song.
There's a lot of people who have parodied this song.
There might have been at least one person, yeah. I'm not very familiar with them myself, but...
Now, to give you an idea of how often this song's been used, I'm going to now spend the next minute telling you all the movies and TV shows that this one BNL song has been in.
Okay.
Oh, yes,
It was
please.
in Super Intelligence in 2020. It was in Money Plane in 2020. It was in Mr. Robot, episode 3.1 from 2017.
I can see that.
It was in the TV show You're the Worst, in the episode called It's Been Part 2. It was on Beat Shazam, One Hit Wonderland, Snow, 9 Days, How I Met Your Mother, the episode about the Slutty Pumpkin returns. It was in Fame, the 2009 movie. It was in This Is Amir, a short movie. It was, of course, on the TV show 100 Greatest Songs of the 90s. It was in the TV show Veronica Mars, the episode called Show Me the Monkey, ironically. It was on Canadian Idol, West Wing, College Kids, The Cleveland Show, Schooled, Digimon the Movie, American Pie.
Which is how I knew it.
Amazing.
American Pie, 10 Things I Hate About You, and of course, when they were on The Apprentice to raise money for the World Wildlife Foundation. It was also, as Andrew mentioned earlier, on the video game Karaoke Revolution, which I have to say, that's a ballsy move right there, because like keeping up with this song, that's going to be hard level right there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
For those who don't know, it's credited to Page and Robertson, although I will say very definitively it was mostly written by Robertson with some addition by Page, but for the most part, this is an Ed Robertson tune.
Yeah. Seems like
Robertson freestyle.
Whew. So, I need to take a break from talking.
You okay? You doing all right?
I'm doing all right, but I need a break. I'm going to hand it over to our music meisters for Aaron and Heidi to give us the breakdown.
Well, before we break it down, I just wanted to thank you for solving a mystery, because I've heard of this film, Money Plane, due to a review that I watched on YouTube by Red Letter Media, and they showed like a fight happening in the plane in like the cargo hold, and somebody like knocked a CD tray and it loaded a CD. I was almost certain that they had ironically placed 1 week in the background effect, but no, this actually was in the movie, so that's kind of amazing. Well, it's got Kelsey Grammer. It's got Kelsey Grammer, I assure you, slumming it and tongue firmly in cheek. I can't wait to watch the whole film now. I got to see it.
How have I not seen Money Plane with Kelsey Grammer? How have I not seen that? Honey, we're watching Money Plane later.
It's got Kelsey Grammer and the greatest title of
I
cinema history.
see that. Wow.
Money Plane.
It's 2020. Money Plane. I mean, it's no snakes on a plane, but I mean, it's a close second.
Sorry to derail, but that was solved a mystery that I've been pondering for some time. So now I'm definitely encouraged to see that film.
You just derailed the plane.
Yeah, I did.
Can you derail a plane?
Probably not.
Apparently, we just did. Now, Heidi, do you want to take this one, or do you want me to go? How do you want to do this?
It's completely up to you. I have it in my notebook as usual. I can do some of the breakdown if you want. Do you want to do the chordal or the form? Take it, and I'll fill in the details later.
Yeah, you look like you have much more detailed notes than I. So you hop in and correct or elaborate as needed. I think.
I don't half-ass this.
Unlike some people, Aaron. The 1 week was recorded, I would say, around 113 beats per minute.
That's what I have. Excellent. I should just have an Aaron button going, ding, like we're the same.
I feel like I'm on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire or something. Yeah. Is that your final answer?
No, that's a crappy one.
It is in the key of A major.
Ding!
And I would call this almost a 3-chord song, probably a 4-chord song, but really we're staying in A for a good 50% of the song, I would say. So you have your chorus section, which I don't know about you, Heidi. I would say this song starts on the chorus easily, like launches right into the refrain.
Yeah, that's what I have too.
Okay, so I'll call our chorus our A section, and there really we're just kind of bouncing between A and D. So you have 1 and 4. The verse, which is the rap section where Ed's going solo for the most part, will be our B section. And really, you're just sitting in A the entire time up until what I would call the pre-chorus, which would be our C section. How can I help?
Oh, C sections are hard.
Yeah.
They're tough.
I wouldn't know.
I've
never been through one, but I can only imagine. But yeah, so I would call the C section the pre-chorus. Arguably, you could call it a bridge. Sometimes songs have a bridge twice, but I would call it more of a pre-chorus. That's.
Is it a bridge too far?
It is at least one bridge too far. Yeah, most certainly.
Anyway,
I had to give that joke dust boost.
Welcome to the show, everybody, where Heidi derails us every 32 seconds.
So how can I help if I think it was funny when you're mad? Pre-chorus. That's E-D-A, so you have 5, 4, 1. So you're going back down, and then you're back to the chorus. So I would say my observation is the form would be chorus, your A section, verse 1 is your B section, pre-chorus is your C section, chorus is your A again, the verse 2 is your B, pre-chorus C, and then chorus A, and then your outro. So it's really A, B, C, A, B, C, A. That's what I had at least. Now, any subtleties or like add 9s or minor 7s that I left out, please fill me in.
We have a lot of those, actually. It's capoed 2. So if you're a guitarist, then it's like you only have to think of it in terms of like a G chord, C add 9. So you would transpose that to A to think about it, but just for the purposes of this. So you go from G to C9, which is 1 to a 4 chord with the 9th added. And I know Jeff is a big fan of C9.
I'm getting very excited just hearing
which isn't as explosive as C4, but.
Dude, the puns are strong tonight.
And then in the bridge, we go into E minor 7. So that would be the 6th chord with the 7th. To a D sus 4, and we know Jeff loves sus 4.
That chord's kind of sus, if you ask me.
Yeah, it's kind of sus. But the bridge just keeps rotating these 4 chords: E minor 7, D sus 4, G over B, and C9.
Yeah,
C9. So it just does that over and over and over again. But it's a very basic chord song. In terms of
on paper, it doesn't look all that impressive.
No, it's not. And that's what Heidi has. It's the Heidi breakdown.
Awesome breakdown. Thank you, Heidi. That was fantastic. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Thank you, Heidi. Thank you, Aaron.
One of the facts that they've shared about this song is that it took them a very long time to learn how to play this song, not because of the lyrics, but because of the sneakily complicated way that this song is put together. That they felt like they were not able to play it in concert for a very long time, and wanted to get it right before they released the album. They said this was one of the songs that took them the longest to learn.
Really?
I certainly could, especially for Ed.
Interesting.
I could certainly see how this would be a difficult one to perform until you really had nailed it and gotten it down, because it's a lot. even listening to the song and reading the lyrics, it's
so
like
much.
whoa. He's singing ahead of your brain. It's crazy. It's really quite something.
Yeah.
Well, and it doesn't help any if you're reading the lyrics and the liner notes, because we'll get to that. But yeah, the liner notes don't match up with the lyrics that are in the song.
Oh,
correct.
Wow.
What's funny is I've seen people try and tackle this at karaoke before, and they'll ace the rap part. They'll like just fly through the rap part right up to the very end, and it's like your brain has to switch off, and then they get to the chorus and screw up. Because making that brain switch, because if you're just doing it yourself without two people, you've got to take that switch off this crazy, insane beat that you're doing, and then go back to the melodic singing, and it throws people off every time. It's kind of funny to watch.
Once again, a reason I would never have put it on Karaoke Revolutions. The other thing that when they play this live, they don't totally play this live. They actually have to trigger the keyboard layers and the subsonic parts that go in the background. Have it played in the background while they're doing the major pieces.
Nobody remembers that song? Okay.
I was thinking Lump by the President of the United States of America, limped along at subsonic speeds.
Yeah, I was thinking of Supersonic,
also parodied by
which is
Weird Al.
Subsonic, which is not the same as the subtonic. 7th degree of the scale if you're in a minor. Anyway.
That's right.
Okay. Yeah, I know. I teach theory.
Very nice.
Dude.
I love it.
Duh.
You're making me happy.
Would like to jump
theory references.
Would like to jump in and show off with the Weird Al guys here that Lump was also parodied by Weird Al. I have a very passing casual knowledge of Weird Al, but I know that.
It's Gump. It's Gump. It's Gump. I love Gump.
Oh yeah.
I never hear Lump. I always hear Gump. Always.
Everywhere we look, we see him.
It's hard once Al's done a parody to not hear his version.
Yep.
Yep.
Oh, forget about it. Yeah. Bad came on the radio the other day. Michael Jackson's version of Bad. Honestly, Michael Jackson's version of Bad. All I could think of was
his cover, if you will.
Michael did this great spin on Eat It called Beat It.
What are these words? I only know my butt is wide. My butt is too. Like, I don't know the real words to Bad. I only know Weird Al words to songs.
It's like how Shakespeare totally ripped off West Side Story. Same thing.
Same thing.
Wait, so really quickly, if I can do an Aaron tangent here, have you guys heard? Now, obviously, if you're looking at a parody or a satire of Beat It, Eat It is hard to beat.
Yeah.
But there's the Misty Mountains version of Beat It, which some guy took like the Lord of the Rings dwarf singing or the Hobbit dwarf singing style and sung Beat It. Tracy, if you can find a little snippet and put it in here, it is hilarious and amazing.
For the you just gave him extra work. I love it.
Right. Yeah, homework.
Well, while I'm doing that, I'm gonna let's stay on this topic, and since we're talking about Weird Al anyways, let's talk about the parody of this song. We'll get back to lyrics and more musical stuff in a few minutes. Let's talk about the Weird Al version of this song. Which
agree. Yeah,
I dare to say, in many ways, it lyrically at least, is better.
Oh, I love. Yeah, it's hard not to love the Weird Al version. I mean, that goat doesn't love you. What more do you need to say?
Exactly. And granted, the hermaphrodite, the slut, and the crack hoe. You don't get better than that. The slut and the crack hoe.
I mean, it's definitely this is something that we talked about a ton on our podcast, but like whenever Weird Al does a parody of something with a ton of lyrics, it's just like that many more jokes that he gets to squeeze into one song, and it becomes that much better and more memorable.
I'm curious as to what I'd love to ask him is like, what line was it that made him decide to go with Jerry Springer? Because you got like have to sign a waiver. They have a history of taking off their shirts. There's a lot of stuff that I could see leading him towards. Oh, this is a great one for Jerry Springer.
It's being able to pull on off of all of the zaniness that is Jerry Springer. Like it just was a match made in heaven. He's just like, okay, so what's as zany as these lyrics from 1 week?
Well, and unlike a lot of Weird Al parodies, the title of the song, the title parody, isn't the parody of itself either. So it's like he just heard this song and said Jerry Springer would work for it, and that's incredible.
See, I was wondering if he decided to go with Jerry Springer because the entirety of 1 week is, essentially a series of arguments that this couple is having, or like these fights, and like what bigger fight is there than Jerry Springer?
Yeah.
That is an excellent.
It's just that
not kid friendly.
Yeah, it's just that's the micro version taken to the macro version, which is Jerry Springer.
By the way, Weird Al has apologized for the words in Jerry Springer. He also states that he was using them because they were used on the show directly, but that's also why he doesn't play this song anymore when he's in concert. Is that there are words that don't age well.
It's one of his few, I think, really kind of on the edge.
I mean, given the source material, that's
there's not
kind of
many, but
what you're dealing with there.
But
I refuse to believe there's one iota of hatred in Weird Al's heart.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Is there anything more that people would like to say about Jerry Springer? The song.
Absolutely, yeah.
I think his political career was short-lived.
Well, yeah, he ran for the governor of Ohio, I believe it was, and then because they found out that he hired a prostitute, he either lost the election or he dropped out of the election, which I guess doesn't matter anymore.
I know, right? You know who I am?
I hope he didn't drop out, because I mean, I would have just been like, "Hey, I'm Jerry Springer. What do you?
What do you
expect?"
I was shocked that Jerry Springer might have a shady past.
Yeah, but I mean, you look at him in a way where, the show seems trashy in a way, but you also saw him as like someone who is much wiser. Like if you ever really watched the show, you remember there's a segment at the end where he actually talks directly to the audience, not his audience that's in the studio, but like talks to the camera and says like, "What have we learned here?"
Spayed or neutered.
Yeah, so we always saw him as like this wiser person. Yeah. So for him to
thought of the day,
then go into politics to be like, I know better, like, and also it's not that he can relate to people, but like he can see where people are at their lowest, and he can make decisions based on those individuals. Yeah,
interesting point.
I've always thought too, like, I mean, there's always that stigma and that rep around Jerry Springer. But looking back, and I watched my fair share of him, a lot of what he had to say on and off the camera was really insightful, like really clever. I think impactful statements that he had to make.
Forget what he.
Well, that was way more like insightful than I expected. That's very
Done.
Why don't we get back to the music part?
Yeah, same. Good job, everybody.
Originally, this was just going to be a B-side. They weren't going to do anything with this song. And then Susan Drew from A&R at Reprise came in to listen to the album. She listened to the whole album through, and she was like, yeah, this is good. And they're like, well, we have this one more song, and they weren't really big on it, and they played it for her, and she's like, no, this is the single. And, you know, the funny thing is then they're like, the people up above did not want to promote this song. Wow. They didn't want to even have this be the single, and she had to fight week to week to get this to be the single, because they kept saying, there is no way that we can actually get this on the radio. There's nothing like it right now. We can't get it out there. Do you think they ever
like blow their noses with $100 bills and wonder what would have happened if they had decided not to put this on the album?
I mean, this that fight for that song doesn't seem unusual, because they, I mean, knowing their history and their past, they've always constantly fought against major record labels, because a lot of them didn't really want to sign them on, because a lot of them, again, didn't know who they were, or like what they were about, or what their sound was. So they were constantly fighting against it, while at the same time they were independently producing their own albums. I think at one point, I forget whose dad it was or whose father it was actually, like, Steven's dad was basically printing out CDs, and he basically turned that into his own full-time job, because they were selling so many CDs at some point, and they were like outselling major record labels like within their own city, which was crazy. So
within the nation, within Canada, they outsold Madonna and Michael Jackson the week that they released the Yellow Tape up in Canada. And they were, he was making the tapes down in his own basement, because they were outselling these guys, and they're like, we need more.
It's not unusual for a record company who's like used to these pop albums, like with Madonna or Michael Jackson, and then all of a sudden you have this weird band of white kids from Canada who's doing this odd rap, and they're like, I don't know if we can actually sell this or not. I mean, we have hindsight to see, like, that was a big successful song, but from a record studio perspective, they're like, I don't really know about this. Also, I don't really understand what this song is about. Also, they seem to keep on changing the lyrics every time that they sing this song, so I don't know how we're going to be able to sell this.
Well, to that point, Daniel, it's interesting. I was thinking about this. I know that, like, the heavier music scene, like metal, had kind of given way to grunge, and then grunge kind of gave way to like nu metal, where they started to incorporate rap into that. But nowadays, when pretty much all of pop music is permeated by hip hop, you really hadn't heard like a lot of pop rock music that had kind of a hip hop edge. There was the heavier nu metal stuff, like Limp Bizkit and whatever. But I can't recall a mid to late '90s band that did that. Really, that was like not really super heavy or whatever.
They weren't heavy at all. I mean, even Linkin Park, they were having a hard time trying to sell themselves in the beginning, and they were like adamant. They were like, yes, we have to include this rap. We have to include rap within our music. That is who we are. This is, and we can't just drop that, because we want to not really rise above, but like stand out as our own band. And the Bare Naked Ladies have been constantly pushing against that, to be like, we are our own sound, and this is how that works. It's worked for us this entire time, and because you haven't seen anything like us before, you don't know if it's going to sell.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know if this is like the rest of their music as much, but I feel like 1 week always has that, like, I get the sense that this is like the rest of their music, but it kind of has like a purposeful silliness to it, like like a, there's something about it where it's like they're not taking themselves entirely seriously, and like and I feel like that could definitely be an element of it as well, where it's like they're just like goofing around is what it feels like when you're listening to the recording, as opposed to most other mainstream music. Everybody is taking it seriously, whether you're a pop artist or a rock artist at the time. Like it feels like there's not a lot of this goofiness out there,
and you get that sense too from the music video, even like just just the ridiculousness even within that.
Oh yeah,
right.
but this song, interestingly, they weren't like intending this song to be anything. Like I said before, they were thinking maybe it would be a B-side because it was silly, and they were trying to really kind of push themselves as a serious band at this point. And then, of course, this one hit big, and they won't frown on it being big, but they're like, yeah, that's not like our typical stuff. This is like what we do in concert. Matter of fact, Ed originally started writing this song, and it took him a long time to write it because he had the chorus down. He knew what he wanted to do for the chorus, but he couldn't get these verses down, and it couldn't make it work. And so he just brought it into the studio one day, and he just said to Steve, like, what can you do with this? Because I can't do anything with this. And Steve just said, well, just take it home and freestyle rap it like you do on stage, and that will be the verses. Like, just go home. And he did. He went home, and in about 4 hours, freestyle versed everything and wrote it down, and then brought it back, and they're like, yep, there we go. That's what we're going with.
Yeah.
And if ever a song sounds like a freestyle rap, it would be this one.
Oh, yeah.
So I can see why they're hesitant now, because that kind of feels like a, that's good enough type of lyrics, type of song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that brings me up to my question that I wanted to come to at some point. One of the things I have the trouble with Tracy this week is that, like, the intent was this was supposed to be an argument with a couple where the narrator of this couple is having a hard time with letting go of the fact that he's wrong and has to push it to the nth degree and double down constantly. The verses have nothing to do with that. It's fun. Don't get me wrong. I enjoy this song, and it's fun, and it's catchy. There's no argument in this song. So I put a challenge out to the co-hosts this week, and I said, all right, guys, I want to hear from you guys.
Oh, boy.
A rewrite of this I want you guys to rewrite this song in such a way that basically it's 1 week, but we're having an argument.
So,
okay, wait.
Well, that's
I want
a
to
good
know
question.
who did it.
I think we kind of misunderstood the assignment, to be perfectly honest. We'll just throw that out there.
We came up with like 3 different interpretations of like what this meant. We're like, are we rewriting the lyrics in some way, shape, or form, or like assigning them to like a couple and like doing a dramatic reading?
In a way, I kind of just because of what I do on Come On Fuhugo Pods, dissecting just ridiculous and making narratives out of little minute details in a Homestar Runner cartoon. Like, I was looking at this and I was like, oh, I don't see an argument here as much as I see like this weird narrative between these two people, and then the choruses, the raps themselves are more or less like the inverse of them becoming a couple. Like, I mean, if that reads like they're talking, because half of the time like they're talking about like, oh yeah, no, I like this, I like this, oh man, you got to watch this, you got to do this, and then it always does a turn where it's like the pre chorus, right, where you have the, how can I help it if I think you're funny when you're mad, trying hard not to smile though I feel bad. And it goes back to, I guess, the guy here, because he says like, I'm the kind of guy who laughs at a funeral, and where basically an argument arises, he doesn't take it seriously, and then everything just blows up. And maybe that's from a sense of just, the fact he laughs at a funeral, he just doesn't know how to deal with conflict. He just bottles it up, or just is passive aggressive about it, or the exact opposite, just is, since he says he wears his mind on his sleeve and he takes off his shirt, that could just be a matter of, I'm a throw down. Like, I'm willing to die on this hill for no reason, and I have no real people skills to calmly talk and discuss something. rather than just exploding and being an argument. Does that make any sense? I feel like I'm just...
It does.
Yeah. And I when I was looking through the lyrics, I noticed that if you look through, like, each chorus is like 1 week, 5 days, 3 days, yesterday, 2 days later, is interesting. And I feel like the first verse, like, I feel like it kind of flip-flops between the perspective of each person in the argument.
Okay.
So the first lyric, or the first chorus, is from the perspective of the guy, who 1 week you cocked your head, said you're angry. 5 days later, another argument happens. You laughed at me, said come back together, get together, come back and see me. 3 days, I realized it was all my fault. Yesterday, you've already forgiven me, but I'm only going to apologize 2 days from now. On the flip side, that next chorus is from, we'll just assume it's a woman. It's from her perspective. 1 week you threw up, I threw my arms in the air, so you're crazy. 5 days you tackled me, like you got all up in my face. I still have the rug burns on my knees, which that alone is like, okay, well, there's already like this sense of, fighting conflict. There's no conversation there. 3 days you realize it's not my fault. So it's the dude realizing that it is his fault. It's not my fault. And yesterday, you'd forgiven me, but I'm still waiting to hear you say you're sorry. And then that next verse is literally a line like rotation back and forth, where it's from the guy's perspective. I dropped my arms, and I said I'm sorry. 5 days. I laughed at you. You just did what I thought you were going to do, and that's coming from the woman. 3 days, we both realized we were to blame. Yesterday, we kind of smiled at each other, again, just knowing that we're going to forgive each other, but it'll still be 2 days till we say we're sorry, and that's why the we comes in at the end.
I like the we at the end, too, for that reason, yeah.
I like that reading.
So, yeah, that's really good.
Very good.
Thank you.
I think it is a one-sided argument in which any parts that are sung, like the chorus, what was it? How can I help if you think you're funny when when you're mad? That part. I see this as someone who is introverted but also has ADHD, and whenever he stops talking, all of a sudden his brain just goes off and it's like starts ping-ponging around and basically just having all of these weird, funny thoughts. So the idea of him laughing at a funeral, if he has to sit there absolutely still, not saying a word, and all of a sudden all these words are like bouncing off around his head.
It's just like, yeah.
And
just
he's
going
like
from thought to thought, like that's okay.
I think that's great.
Yeah, and he's like, this, like, you guys aren't in here, but this is hilarious. So he's just ping-ponging around, and then all of a sudden he realizes that she has stopped talking. And then he's like, oh no, we're still arguing. Okay, so here's the thing. Okay. It's been 1 week since you looked at me. Okay, right. You threw up in your... you said you're crazy. I can see that now. I can see why I'm crazy, because I think I'm crazy, because, again, have you been in here? It's hilarious.
Oh,
so
wow. Okay.
It's a completely one-sided argument in which we only hear his side, but the thing is his thoughts are so loud that we don't even hear her at all.
I love that. That's great, Dan.
That's a great interpretation, yeah. So my interpretation of the assignment was that I was supposed to take a section of the rap and try to figure out how it caused an argument, to which my brain stuck to, you'll think you're looking at Aquaman, I summon fish to the dish, although I like the shallot Swiss. I like the sushi because it's never touched a frying pan. I think that was a start of an argument because he ordered sushi whenever his girlfriend or significant other said that they wanted fish for dinner, but they actually meant that they wanted like fish and chips, and he came back with sushi, and then it caused a spicy argument like wasabi.
Nice.
Wasabi comes into play. It's true.
I like that.
So
I'm loving all these explanations a lot better. I will never listen to this song quite the same way again, and I'm gonna love it because of it.
Now I feel bad. That I'm the only person who didn't come up with a good explanation for this. I'm just gonna steal these three's homework and say it was all a group effort that I totally helped come up with these great and brilliant explanations.
Going back to your host skills.
Yep. Going back to my host skills, which is where I am the one just asking you all to provide your interpretation, so I don't have to think.
That's why he's a teacher. He's grading our assignments now.
There you go. Yeah.
I would say an A for all of those. Like, those were amazing.
Well, thank you, Tracy. Sorry, we misunderstood the assignment.
You came up with better answers for the test than I did. With writing the test. Aaron, Jeff, and Heidi, did you do the assignment the way I gave it?
But I'm going to let Aaron go first.
Oh, I did not. Unfortunately, I did not. I didn't have a chance to take a crack at it. But I did. I feel like we would all be remiss if we didn't mention the weird Reddit theory about this song is about like a murder.
I'm excited to hear.
You guys read this?
Wait, what?
I have read it. Go ahead, Aaron, please.
Well, I believe the gist of it is that the song is about someone who murdered their significant other with a golf club. is what I'm not sure. I can't off the top of my head recall the arguments, but yeah, there's like this is essentially. This is a reach, in my opinion. I don't think there's any real heft to this, but it is interesting to see what people on the interwebs will come up with when they're allowed to just take enough time to think about something.
Can you give us some examples? Do you happen to have it with you? Because yes, the theory on that, while it has been debunked and BNL has come out and said absolutely not, no, it is a very entertaining read. I will say that much. And from a psychological standpoint, if nothing else, reading into this person's frame of mind really makes me concerned about the person.
Well, that's the thing is oftentimes you can learn more about the interpreter from their interpretation than the original work, right? So this is really, I maybe a little afraid of this person, but they use the example of gonna get a better set of clubs, gonna find the kind with tiny nubs just so my irons aren't always flying off the backswing, and they're saying that's the murder weapon. So I'm like,
oh my.
I feel like this is pretty Stretch Armstrong, but it is. It really it was fascinating. It was fascinating to read. I'm almost positive this started as a joke, but of course, it's like those. When you were a kid at school and people were like, "Oh, you can see a guy hanging in the background, the Wizard of Oz or whatever." Well, not true at all. Yeah, but it's one of those urban legends that kind of grows.
I found like at least a quote from it. It's apparently from this user by the name of Eucrid Ucro, or Eucrid_Ucro, who says, I propose that, although the band has stated that the song is more or less about nothing, that it is in fact about a man who murdered his girlfriend in a fit of rage 3 days ago and is now sitting in the living room with her corpse, slowly losing his mind as he forgets to eat and formulates a story to tell the police.
That's dark.
That's really twisted. That's twisted.
So
that is creepy. That is creepy.
That's a better interpretation.
I once thought that the flag was perhaps the darkest BNL song. Apparently, I stand corrected.
Jeff and Heidi, did you happen to have any rewrites?
Do you want to go?
Well, I didn't do I didn't understand the assignment either. Actually, it sounded to me like you were asking me to change the lyrics of an existing song.
Jeff, I was asking you to do your job.
It sounded to me like you were asking me to work, and
I was asking you to give us a free parody.
I don't do that anymore. No, that's it's all commission based.
I gave you the trailer. Come on.
You have to back at a higher tier.
Okay. Well, Heidi, you did the assignment.
I did because I'm a teacher who does their homework. Now, I didn't get I really got stuck. So I did it from the hold it now and watch the hoodwink section. And it's a conversation between he said, she said. So he says, hold it now, I'm not a big dink. She said, you never stop and think. He says, you said I'm acting like a Rain Man. She says, I don't like fish, but in my dish, although I told you no more fish, you put the fish sticks on my plate fresh from the frying pan. He says, well, hot like wasabi when I bust rhymes. She says, you're not Leanne Rhymes, but I know she has some value. He says, Bert Kemford's got the mad hits. And she says, but I don't hear hits except for Dunka Shane, which is all right. And that's as far as I got. Because I had to teach and work all week long. But I thought it was a valiant effort.
I could see it formulating together. Absolutely.
It came together. Yeah. It was tough.
Mm-hmm. You should complete that,
okay.
and we'll premiere it.
I will continue to work on it. It was really challenging. It's a challenging assignment.
I did do my own assignment. I felt it was only fair to if I gave an assignment to do one.
Oddly enough, yes.
His own assignment, I know.
And you also misinterpreted what the assignment was.
It was crazy. Well, actually, given your answers, I think I did misinterpret the assignment that I gave myself. So here's my rewritten lyrics to try to make a more comprehensive argument. Hold it now, don't try to hoodwink. You're not as smart as you think. You're about as powerful as Aquaman. For dinner, I would like to fish. I know you like chalet Swiss, but I like sushi because it's never touched a frying pan. Side of wasabi with a squeeze of lime from the 5 and dime because I'm all about value. Bert Kampern's got the mad hits. Why you having fits? You haven't listened to his last 2 albums that he made you throw in shade. His songs make me quake and ache and shake. I like Smile. It's got some swing and flavor. Now you're gonna blow because I'm in the flow. Here comes a tantrum, I know, because your brain's witty comeback will come later. I can't keep up with this song.
Do you want me to hand you a mic so you can drop it?
Yeah, for real.
Yeah.
And then for the I also did the second verse, but only half of it. And it's an actual back and forth. I would have loved to have seen Ed and Steve do this back and forth during this part. Chicken to China, the Chinese chicken. Then Steve would say, I want a drumstick that's finger licking. Back to Ed. Let's watch X-Files with no lights on. Steven says, I want Twilight Zone. And back to Ed. I hope the smoking man's in this one. So he's ignoring him. Back to Steven. Like Harrison Ford, I'm getting frantic. And then back to Ed. Like Sting, I'm tantric. And then over to Steve. Like Snickers, guaranteed to satisfy. With some sarcasm. And then over to Ed, like Kurosawa, I make mad films. No, you don't make films. But if I did, they'd have a samurai. And that's as far as I got.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
I definitely want to keep the Sailor Moon line in there.
Right.
I got to find some way of the other person saying basically this guy's a pervert. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I could see pieces of it that could be an argument. That could have been a back and forth. And I think it would have risen it. Like, had that happened, this would have totally been a 5 on my category list for BNL songs.
because lyrically, it is fun. Like, even if you really break it down and you listen to it, the song in itself does not make any sense. At least I don't think so. But it is. But it's a fun song. I mean, absolutely, it's the song that made BNL fans out of a lot of people, and that's to its credit. And no, I didn't do the assignment, but I do have an interpretation of the song.
Okay, yeah.
You just completely scooted past me because because I disappointed you like I always do, and you were like, no, screw you, Jeff. We're talking other people. No, I.
Wow, it's like you're in my head.
I right? We're practically married at this point. But no. I think how I interpret this song is clearly the couple had a fight. Like threw your arms in the air. You're crazy. 5 days since you tackled me. They had a bad argument. And as you often do when you have a fight with your spouse or significant other or your partner, one person is sleeping on the couch, right? And when you sleep on the couch, you just have the TV on all night. So what the verses are him watching TV, and he's just flicking the channels. Like, oh, there's a chicken commercial. Oh, X-Files. Oh, dang it! It's not a conspiracy episode. It's a monster of the week. So he flicks again, and then he goes to Others Frantic, Harrison Ford. He flicks again. He's on MTV. There's Sting. Snickers commercial. Oh, Seven Samurai. So he's just flicking through the commercials, thinking as he's going through his head. That's what I think the song means.
Okay.
And then eventually the TV lands on Jerry Springer.
Right, exactly. As it always does every day in the morning. Right.
Bring it home. Now, actually, it's interesting because obviously Harrison Ford Frantic, that's a reference to the film Frantic, but I want to go on a limb here and defend Mr. Euclid Crow because Harrison Ford also starred in
Star Wars?
Shoot. No. Yes, the Star Wars.
Indiana.
If you kids haven't seen the Star Wars, no. What is it?
Never heard of it.
I want to say the Convict. No, it's
The Fugitive.
The Fugitive.
The One-Armed Man. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Where he was accused of killing his wife.
Oh yeah, I didn't kill my wife. I don't care. Tommy Lee Jones is so good.
I don't care.
Maybe
he did.
Maybe
Tommy
totally
Lee
did.
stole the entire movie with that one line.
Going on the Harrison Ford thing, maybe he was worried that there was a witness.
Oh.
And he's trying to hightail it out on
But
their
Frantic, actually, Aaron, have you seen Frantic? Has anyone seen Frantic?
Yeah, what he really needed, though, was a Star Wars Return of the Jedi.
No, I think it was like 7 or 8. I remember like one of my family members renting it for Thanksgiving or something. But it was a fun movie. It's a good one.
Well, speaking of Star Wars, since David brought that up, I do want to bring up some lyrics that were not in the song that were in the liner notes that Ed also had written. One of them was like Skywalker got a big hunch. Hey, that's my lunch. Yoda's a really, really old guy. And I thank you for getting rid of that one.
Tracy, when 900 years old you are, perhaps this good you will not look.
And then there's hold on, I gotta get my like Andrew Lloyd, I've got a big show. Mine's about a black hole. There'll be a big sound from the pavement. Thank you, Ed, for getting rid of some of these lyrics.
He was talking about cats.
Yes. Well,
only logical answer.
Predicted the flop of the motion picture adaptation of Cats years later.
Hitting the pavement.
I want to talk a little bit about Susan Rogers because she had a big piece in this song in actually making this song what it was. Originally, this song was just a drum loop with nothing else in there, and she was like, yeah, this isn't gonna work, guys. And Susan's like, no, it's not. This isn't cool. So she took the drum loop and she made it trip hoppy, which is a type of music, trip hop. And it's a mixture of hip hop and electronica with a really heavy bass drum beat and a slowed down breakdown part of samples. So she added that part in. She's like, no, we got to do a different type of drum in the background. Then they wanted to go and do it acoustic. Then David Leonard stepped in and he insisted on, quote, fucking guitars in the chorus.
Yeah, it is.
Which is the music term, by the way.
Yep.
I think that was an episode of Jerry Springer.
Yeah.
So that's how this song basically evolved into what we have now. Now, one of the things that people have for a long time wondered about, and I was able to dig it up and find it, was, you know, that screeching sound that's throughout the song that sounds like you're basically like rubbing a record or something like that.
Got the mad hits, you try to match wits.
That's actually a one-note sample from the opening note of Wonderland by Night by Burt Kaempfert's orchestra.
Oh.
Tie that all together then.
This means something. This is important.
I don't know if you guys have ever heard the song Life is a Rock by Reunion, but this song sounds extremely familiar to Life is a Rock by Reunion. I think you'll see it's not a ripoff by any stretch of the imagination, but it's definitely very similar.
Is it kind of like Led Zeppelin's Stairway to Heaven?
No. Not quite.
They Might Be Giants, I Want to Rock. Tom Cochrane's Life is a Highway. There.
I'm a rock, I'm an island.
I am an island.
Classic
Rock,
94 commercial. Like a rock.
It's rock.
Steady rock, steady rocking all night long.
Poor Bob Seger.
That's not a boulder.
It's not
That's
just
a
a
space
boulder.
station.
It's a rock.
There are lots of rock songs. Oh,
It's an
that's
entire
so funny.
genre.
Rock This Town, The Stray Cats.
You sure there's enough songs for that?
Yeah.
That's
So this is Life is a Rock.
Rachel Singers, Lonnie Mac, and Twang and Eddie Hisman ring, we're going steady. Take it easy, take me high, lie, house of fire, locomotion, poco, passion, deeper purple satisfaction, baby, got it, gimme, getting hot as Sammy's cooking, Leslie Gore, Richie Valens, end the story. Vista Fuji, I'm a Kamasutra, Rama Lama, Richard Perry, Spectre Barry, Righteous, Arches, Nielsen, Harry, Shimmy, Coco Poppin', Fats is back and finger poppin'. Life is a rock, but the radio gold me.
That is a jam.
That is a
So
jam.
you have very fast.
That is a jam. That is a
I actually really like it.
If I were to hear that, if I were
that's
to
pretty
stumble
good,
on that
yeah.
in my casual day, I would say
Yeah,
that
I would
sounds
too.
like 1 week. Yes. I can
Well,
see that.
two thoughts. I've always been curious where that Shimmy Shimmy Cocoa Pop thing came from the movie Big.
Yeah.
And now I know.
Yeah, okay.
And two, I hope that BNL has really good legal representation.
Right. Because you see what happened to blurred lines. I mean, these days.
Yeah. I mean, it's not exactly a ripoff, but you can get the, like, he's doing the fast rapping, and then there's a lot of pop culture references throughout the song, and then it goes into this chorus, which is back into the singing melody kind of thing.
And Aaron, Shimmy Shimmy Cocoa Pop actually comes from a song from the 1950s, which was a song by Little Anthony and the Imperials.
Shimmy, shimmy, cocoa pop, shimmy, shimmy, pop. Shimmy, shimmy, cocoa pop, shimmy, shimmy, pop. Sitting in a native hut all alone and blue. Sitting in a native hut wondering what to do.
So there is a real song.
Okay. I learned something today.
Right. Is Shimmy Shimmy Cocoa
Which
Pop.
is what they were referencing in that song right there.
Also, since we're already on a tangent, Blurred Lines,
It
another
sure
song
is.
parodied by Weird Al.
I also like Word Crimes better as well.
And a song that was done better by Weird Al.
Way better by Weird Al.
Yep.
One of my top 5 songs from Weird Al. Yes.
Yeah,
Word
that's
Crimes.
good.
Yeah,
So
Word
good.
Crimes.
Now, that was
Incredible.
Now, that was my way of trying to bring in the fact that this song, 1 Week, does a lot of pop culture references. We should probably talk about all the wonderful references that are in this song. So we got Chicken to China, the Chinese chicken, which is a reference to Busta Rhymes in the Tribe Called Quest song called Scenario, where he's talking about Chickadee Choco, the chocolate chicken. It is also a reference to, at the time, there was the Asian bird flu, and so he was making reference to that at the same time. There was a whole bunch. Oh my gosh, I can't go through all these.
No,
Holy
there's
cow.
a lot.
Birchmount Stadium, home of the Robbie, of course, finishes off the song. And there's, the annual soccer tournament that's held at Birchmount Stadium. That was there. That's the Robbie International Soccer Tournament. That is there to.
It may be tongue in cheek, but they've also said that's the hardest line of the song to sing.
That's gonna be tongue in cheek.
That is, they did make that statement though, but yeah, I think that's probably not the case.
I'm trying to think if there are any other big ones that I'm people might not understand the references to.
Kurosawa.
Hopefully they understand most of them.
The Swiss
Chalet
Chalet.
Swiss, I guess, is a restaurant. I'd look that one up. That's a Swiss Chalet is a restaurant in Canada.
Yes.
Yeah. That one I didn't know, and I had to
A lot of people.
Harrison Ford, the actor who's most known for being in The Conversation. That's
Oh, right.
Oh, I was thinking Hollywood Homicide, surely, is most famous.
I thought it was the one with the dog.
Sabrina was the big one, right?
No, it's President Harrison Ford.
Kurosawa, of
Come on the
course.
show. We know you listen.
It's the Seven
Kurosawa
Samurai,
was a highly recognized Japanese film director, producer.
which was what The Magnificent Seven was based on.
Seven Samurai, right?
And The Hidden Fortress was what Star Wars was based on.
Yeah, in Star Wars.
Actually, a lot of things are based on the Seven Samurai. So
Well, that and Yojimbo was the inspiration for Fistful of Dollars. And
well, that's the interesting thing about spaghetti westerns.
Yeah.
They're Italian directors making American western films that are inspired by Japanese samurai films.
Japanese samurai films, yeah.
And Throne of Blood is what inspired Shakespeare to write Macbeth. So.
You guys are aware that Shakespeare was all of Shakespeare's work was stolen from the original Klingon.
And Fistful of Dollars was the inspiration for Fistful of Yen from Kentucky Fried Movie by Zucker Abrahams, who made Naked Gun, starring Rudolph Yankovic.
7 degrees or 6 degrees of my list. 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon has nothing on
it. I gotta say, in true fashion to how I was as a kid, I think I finally did the homework assignment, or at least the misinterpretation of the homework assignment.
That was bugging you, wasn't it?
It was. I was the only one who didn't have an interpretation. But no, because I think what it is the entire first verse is sung by this is a couple having just a really petty fight about how to spend their evening, and the first verse is sung by one person who's trying to figure out what in the world they should make for dinner. And the second verse is the other person trying to figure out what in the world they should watch that night.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god. That's really impressive.
I love that theory. That's great.
Yeah,
I'm sure anybody who's been in a relationship can know those evenings where it's like, okay, we got to figure out what we're gonna have for dinner and figure that out. And after you finally figure that out, it's like, okay, what are we gonna do with our evening? What are we gonna watch tonight? And it could just be a whole frustrating thing.
Well, you gotta have music to listen to while you make the food.
Oh yeah. See, I'm just trying to figure out what it is they're trying to make, because it's like, okay, they're talking about making fish, but then it's like, but we're going to use vanilla in this? What dish is being made?
I don't know where we left off.
Just before you got dropped, that I had no idea after all of these years of listening to the song that the second to last line is, it'll still be 2 days till we say wasabi. Is that correct?
That is correct.
That's not correct.
It's we're sorry. I thought it was we're sorry. We're
It's supposed to be we're sorry,
Home
but
of the
they do in concert tend to throw in wasabi in there a lot.
Son of a! I've never ever noticed it.
Because they finally figured out what they were going to have for dinner, which is sushi.
I mean, I could see that, but yeah.
Yeah.
They're just going to eat wasabi.
Wasabi.
What?
Wasabi.
Big plate of wasabi.
And they finally figured out what they're going to watch, which is whatever sport is played at that stadium.
They're going to watch the Robbie, yeah.
The Robbie, home of the Robbie. Did anybody think the Robbie was like a sandwich?
Home of the Robbie.
I thought it was a player. Like, I thought it was one of the
Home
players.
of the Robbie.
The Robbie.
It's a
Yeah, I thought it was an athlete.
sauerkraut sandwich.
Did you guys talk about Dan's La Maison?
I know it's an athlete, but it
definitely sounds like
what?
No. So does anyone know where Dan's La Maison
I still
comes
don't
from
know where that
song?
is.
Where Don La Maison. That means in the house. Where Don La Maison. Yeah, where Don La Maison.
So basically, it means we're in the house. They had been touring really intensely before this point, and because they were doing their disc one,
LA's gonna get it.
They, when they were on the tour bus, as soon as they would go on the tour bus, they'd turn off the lights and they'd start watching X-Files with no lights on. And that was kind of a joke that they would say, like, that they were in the house was kind of that stupid phrase that they would use to kind of say that they were watching TV in there. So basically, Don's La Maison became this universal code for are we going back to the bus and watching some X-Files? And that's how it worked its way into...
Oddly enough, that was my pickup line for a while.
X-Files and chill.
Nice. X-Files and chill, right.
One of the lines of this song that I want to bring up is, for the longest time, I had a hard time with that line of, I have a history of losing my shirt. And for me, it was like, okay, they're not talking about, like, losing it in the dryer. I just kept, in my mind, picturing, like, mid-argument, he is just ripping off his shirt like he's 70s Hulk style ripping the shirt apart.
Yeah.
I just thought he was taking his shirt off.
I think it was Michael said about ready to throw down.
Yeah.
I've always kind of pictured it like that.
That's what I thought it as too.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a.
Yeah, for sure.
That could also just literally be a good place gag for anybody who's seen
we don't need to
there's a
talk about
character who would
Sting's
avoid every
pants
argument by just taking off his shirt.
So we can move on from that.
We haven't talked about the video. We mentioned it very, very quickly in passing, Michael.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But we haven't talked about the video in detail. It was directed by Mick G, who has made...
I was going to bring that up. I
Yes.
recognized the style. I was like, I know
Yes.
that style. It reminded me of All Star by Smash Mouth, the video, like the color balance. And I was right. And of course, we know McG from Terminator Salvation. Where Chris Bale had his famous freakout on set.
And
we did Charlie's Angels too, and the video references that as well.
And of course, Supernatural and Chuck, and a lot of videos. And
oh yeah, that's right.
The babysitter.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah,
this video is all over the place, though.
Yeah. Well, the stunt girl, the Evel Knievel character, that is what's her name? It's Carmette. I have my notes here. I actually had to pull this out because I used to use this for the Weird Alphabet. Yeah. So Carmette Bakar, she is one of the original members of the Pussycat Dolls. Yep.
And the wind-up doll on the pedestal is Kiva Dawson.
Oh, and who this?
She's an actress. She's been in a bunch of things.
Kiva.
I don't have it pulled up right now.
Okay.
She was in a...
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, I remember now.
Right.
I would pull it up, but my computer is hitting its maximum ability to run things right now, so I'm not gonna play with IMDb
She was
now.
the one that said the famous line, "I'm sick of this mother effing gambling on this mother effing plane." That was her.
Right. That's what it is.
Exactly. At the beginning of this video is an homage to one of my favorite movies as a kid, though, which is Chitty Chitty Bang Bang.
Chitty chitty bang bang, chitty chitty
Which,
bang
yeah.
bang, love you. Oh yeah,
Which
it
nobody
is.
remembers, by the way. Until
I guess it
found out
is.
recently.
Yeah.
That movie is like 3 hours long.
Yeah, and I directed the musical version of that because there's a musical version. We did it 5 summers ago.
It's
We
ridiculous.
called it Shitty Shitty Bang Bang. But yeah, that's right. There's that whole that is an homage to Chitty.
Yeah, right.
It's a bizarre show. It's a bizarre film.
Yeah.
The Blu-ray is fantastic, though. Like, just gotta say, if you have a nice 4K TV and you have Chitty Chitty Bang Bang on Blu-ray, like you could see the lines of the green screen.
Oh, nice.
So it's so nice.
But that,
or you could just go to my YouTube channel.
all I can remember from that movie is that.
There you go.
Most of the time.
Yeah. What I remember most from that movie is the ridiculous Cockney accent that the boy puts on, which I'm pretty sure he's not even British at all. They just kind of put that on and just like over-exaggerated
So
it.
like a lot of Disney films of the time.
There is another video that I do want to bring up, and this was brought up on our show. There was another version of 1 Week that was done for the Bare Naked Ladies variety show, which is somewhat offensive. So I'm not going to screen share, but I will play some of the song, and I'll let you guys hear it and tell me if you think it's offensive or not.
It's been 1 week since you looked at me. Cocked your head on the side and said I'm angry. 5 days since you laughed at me, saying get that together, come back and see me. 3 days since the living room. I realized it's all my fault, but couldn't tell you. Yesterday you forgiven me, but it'll still be 2 days till I say I'm sorry.
Chicken to China, the Chinese chicken.
Chicken to China, the Chinese chicken. Chicken to China,
Come on, everybody.
the Chinese chicken. Chicken to China, the Chinese chicken. You have a drumstick and your brain stops ticking. Watching X-Files with the lights on. We're done Amazon. Hope it's looking better than this one.
And if I remember correctly, doesn't that take place at like a Chinese wedding?
Japanese wedding.
A Japanese wedding, is it? Okay, yeah.
Yes, it does. Japanese wedding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yes. Right.
Yeah, and George Takei is there, and he makes eye contact with them, and George Takei is like,
knows
you don't
me.
know me.
He knows
You don't
us,
know me
right,
at all.
George? I do not know them.
That's beautiful.
It's like,
Yeah, so it's
oh my. Oh my.
So yeah, the worst cover of 1 week was done
Oh.
by also the Bare
Although
Naked
I
Ladies.
have to give them props. They were given those instruments, which are authentic Japanese instruments, and had never touched them
They had to
before,
learn
and they
them,
just
right.
played them immediately right there on set. Like,
Yes.
Can we
gotta give them
Can
props
we
for that.
also
piece.
though discuss about the use of the General Lee and the Starsky and Hutch car for those kids, those of us that grew up in the 70s?
Yeah.
Their
Oh, yeah.
homage to two classic
Yeah.
television cars from the 70s is pretty epic.
And they were smart enough to keep the
Yeah.
They were smart enough to keep the Confederate flag off the top.
Yeah,
of the
they
car.
did. They
Yeah.
changed that decal up, but
Yep.
still, I mean,
Which was forward thinking back when this came out, because yes, obviously that was a discussion, but it wasn't as big of a discussion as we're having
No.
now. But yeah, so that was really forward thinking.
Yeah.
Well, Daniel, you brought us into the discussion of versions, and that means I'm going to lose my voice again.
Oh, dear.
So
Yep.
I got to go through all the versions
many
of this song.
If anyone needs
There
to use the
are
bathroom
so
or run and make
many
a sandwich or
versions.
anything, that would be a good time.
Yeah. All right. So
Yeah.
the hardest version to get a hold of is the My Launch Live version, which was only released with 100 copies on Launch Live 1998. If you end up wanting to search for it, it is impossible to find. There is, of course, the original video version. There is the bathroom sessions version, which is slow, acoustic, and bluegrass.
Never touch a frying pan, hot like wasabi when I bust rhymes. Big like Leanne rhymes, because I'm all about value. Bert Camper's got the mad hits. You try to match wits, you try to hold me, but I bust through. Gonna make a break and take a fake. I like a stick and ache and shake. I like vanilla. It's the finest of the flavors. Gonna see the show, cause then you know the vertigo was gonna go. Since it's dangerous, you like to sign a waiver.
You get to see Ed and Steve doing their harmonies for the verses as well as the choruses. It's actually really cool. And they have a lot of fun with doing some whisper yelling during that. There's the official lyrics version of the Red Rocks version of this song.
I'm the kind of guy who laughs at hero. Can't understand why I leave where you sit up. I'm a tell to you with a mind on the sleeve. Have history and pick up my shirt. 1 week since you looked at me. Threw your arms in the air, said you're crazy. 5 days since you tackled me. I stood at the runners on both my knees. And 3 days since the afternoon. I realized it's not my fault. The moment too soon. Yesterday, you've forgiven me. And now I sit back and wait till you say you're sorry.
There's the radio remix of this song, the Let's Talk to the Hand version of this song when they did it live in Michigan. There's the Poles Break remix, which you would hear if you listen to Stop Us if you've heard this one before.
It's been 1 week since you looked at me. Cocked your head to the side and said I'm angry. 5 days since you laughed at me. Saying get that together, come back and see me.
It has a beatbox backbeat and a lot of squeals and extra guitar riffs. There's the Ladies Room Volume 2 version, which is the Dave's Big Beat extended mix.
Hold it now and watch a hoodwink. Does it make you stop think? You'll think you're looking at Aquaman. I summon fish to the dish, although I like the chalet Swiss. I like the sushi cause it never touch a frying pan. Hot like wasabi when I bust rhymes. Big like Leanne rhymes because I'm all about value. Bert Camper's got the mad hits. You try to match wits. You try to hold me but I bust through. Gonna make a break and take a bake. I like a sink and ache and shake. I like vanilla. It's the finest of the flavors. Gonna see the show cause then you know the vertigo is gonna go cause it's so dangerous. You'll have to sign a waiver. I can't help it if I think you're funny when you're mad. Trying hard not to smile though I feel bad. I'm the kind of guy who laughs at a funeral. Can't understand what I mean.
Basically, the first 50 seconds of this song is approximately 20 bars of just a beat with nothing more. And then you got the Burt Camford sounds that are coming in every 10 seconds, and there's an extra 3 bars of music between each chorus and verse, and a lot of distorted voices. Yeah, I'm glad this was only on the Ladies Room Volume 2, and it was also only on the single that was released for this song.
Sorry, but I just noticed that there's a Kids Bop version.
It's been 1 week since you looked at me. Cock your head to one side and said I'm angry. 5 days since you laughed at me. Saying get back together, come back and see me. 3 days since the living room. I realized it's my fault, but couldn't tell you. Yesterday you've forgiven me, but it's still be 2 days till I say I'm sorry.
There's a Kids Bop version.
I would be lying if I said that might have been my first introduction to this.
Yeah.
And that's why I just go to Digimon the movie, because at least one's a little bit better. But yeah.
There's the extended version, which is where they do the skipping on the Chickadee China line, since they did it live, and they tend to do that a lot live.
China, the Chinese chicken. China, the Chinese chicken. China, Chinese chicken. China, the Chinese chicken. You have a drumstick, your brain stops sticking.
There's the Persuasions version, which I will say I actually like better than the original now.
This is one where I like the Persuasion version.
I do like it.
1 week since you looked at me. Threw your arms in the air and see you crazy. 5 days since you tackled me. I still got the burns on both my knees. It's been 3 days since the afternoon. You realize it's not my fault and I won't too soon. Yesterday you've forgiven me. Now sit back and wait till you say you're sorry.
I think it's only because 1 week was blown off on the radio so many times when it hit that it just got old to me, and I like hearing something different, and I like this doo-woppy version and the folksy choruses that are going on. I really enjoy that. There's the version that was done for House of Strombo with Maestro Fresh West, who is the godfather of Canadian hip-hop music.
Oh.
A rapper's like a slab of clay that's shapeless. Champagne no shimmer, no glass is tasteless. A universe without light is lightless. That's why I always take time to write this. Molded in my hands before I start chiseling. Could be a rain or brainstorm or drizzling. Some could be shining, some could be showering. Practice makes perfect, I'm empowering, flowering. My lyrics are awesome and tune in, volume and bloom and I'm blossoming. Blowing away blockades, the barricades, make it black and blue from the blast of the blade. It's a blood sport. Blood bills out bang. Make your vision go blurry while your brain goes blank into oblivion. Beats from box to box, and base rocks for blocks and blocks.
There's the selfie cam jam version, which I would say, once again, such as like Old Apartment, this is not a good version. Don't bother going out and watch it.
3. It's been 1 week since you looked at me. Knocked your head on the side and said I'm angry. 5 days since you laughed at me. Saying get back together, come back and see me. 3 days in the living room. I realized it was my fault. Couldn't tell you yesterday you've forgiven me, but it'll still be 2 days till I say I'm sorry.
Except for the fact that I like the Old Apartment version of the Selfie Cam Jam, but all right.
Yeah, we disagree on that. And then there's the Cornbread Red version, so an actual bluegrass band doing a bluegrass version of this, which is really cool.
It's been 1 week since you looked at me, cocked your head to the side and said I'm angry. 5 days since you laughed at me, saying get that together, come back and see me. 3 days since the living room. I realized it's all my fault, but couldn't tell you. Yesterday you'd forgiven me, but it'll still be 2 days till I say I'm sorry. Hold it now, what's your hook wink? I'll make you stop and think. You think you're looking at Aquaman. I summon fish to the dish, although I like the chalet swish. I like sushi because it's never touched the frying pan.
There are multiple parodies. The best parody, of course, being Jerry Springer.
Of course.
It's been 1 week since we got to see cheating lovers and cousins that marry. 5 days since they had the show with the hermaphrodite, the slut, and the crack hoe. 3 days since we heard the tale about the guy who learned his woman was a she-male. Yesterday it occurred to me that I've been watching a bit too much Jerry Springer. Holy cow, did you see it last week? Well, I had this one freak who sucker punched his whole family. Do you recall when the brawl became a total free-for-all and Jerry's in the middle trying to be the referee? Hey.
But
by Jerry Springer.
There have been so many 1 week versions done during COVID that it is nuts.
Yeah.
COVID? I know. Yeah.
Yeah. No. No. I was looking. Just because I was like, I wonder if there's other parodies of this. Just because we might talk about them, and I'm like, out of all the things that you could write a parody about with 1 week, you choose COVID?
Well, to me.
Right.
Like, you could do Twin Peaks.
I know,
like
right?
That itself, it
sounds
writes
like
itself here in
it's
Twin
got
Peaks.
potential.
And you could just...
There is one called One
COVID?
Oh, sorry, go ahead,
The
Andrew.
second best being whatever Apologetics did. I don't know if they did a parody. I'm just assuming they did.
I kind of want to hear that Twin Peaks song.
Yeah.
That would be great.
It's amazing. It's weird for me to say this, and maybe you guys would agree, but it's amazing how quickly I got sick of COVID parodies. Like when it first started, it was like, oh, this could be kind of funny. I did a COVID song I think in April of 2020. But yeah, by mid-April, the end of April, I'm like, no, let's write about other stuff. People, come on.
And they're still doing it
so quick.
Wasn't me.
And they're still doing
I didn't say
it.
anything.
Still doing it. Yeah.
The Holderness family just did another one recently, and it's horrible. There's no rhyming. Yeah. It's just horrid. There is the One Sick version done by a person who is indie.
There's this one Sikh in the doctor's lounge, a Punjabi guy whose name no one can pronounce. 5 Janes in emergency, saying get that guard dog away from Dr. Mukherjee. 3 blocks in the ICU, I realize they still eat meat, although they're Hindu. Every day it's the IMGs, they got the MBBS instead of the MD. Hold it now and pass the chutney as I make the curry, because I'm starving like Gandhi. I summon goat to my throat, although I like my eggs poached out of those desis who will never touch a cow beef.
He is Indian, and also his family are doctors, and so the song is about Sikh doctors, SIKH doctors.
Yes, Sikh doctors?
Sikh.
Okay.
Yeah, I can never pronounce it right, but yeah, that's actually pretty good. The college humor version is really good. They did a song about how catchy this song is, even though it doesn't mean anything. Well done. And then, of course, I absolutely love, and Andrew, you brought this up earlier, and I almost had to laugh when you did so. There was a person out there, Alex Melton, who did a mashup of 1 week if it was done by Blink 182.
Well, it's been 1 week since you looked at me. Got you right on the side and said I'm angry. 5 days since you laughed at me. Saying get that together, come back and see me. 3 days since the living room. I realized it's all my fault, but didn't tell you yesterday. You've forgiven me. It'll still be 2 days till I say I'm sorry. Holding out, I watch the hood week, cause I make you stop think. You think you're looking at Aquaman.
Excellent version. I admit, it sounds like Blink 182, and it is this song. It is amazing. It is hilarious.
Oh man, I can't wait to hear all the clips of all of the songs that you just listed off.
Yeah, right.
I will say this too, like when mashups as well, taking 1 week and mashing it up. Like one of my favorites to this day, and I think I even mentioned it the first time I was on the podcast. I hope I did, which is Neil Cicieraga's mashup of Smooth Criminal and 1 week.
Oh, okay.
It is brilliant.
Yeah. All right.
And now I gotta find that and put that in here.
Might as well look and see if the Merkins did one too.
Hold it now and watch a hoodwink. Does it make you stop think? You think you're looking at Aquaman? I summon fish to the dish, although I like the chalet Swiss. I like the sushi cause it's never touch a frying pan. Hot like wasabi when I bust rhymes. Big like Leanne rhymes because I'm all about value. Bert Camper's got the mad hits. You try to match wits. You try to hold me but I bust through. You know, make a bake and take a bake. I like a sink and ink and shake. I like vanilla. It's the finest of the flavors. Gotta see the show cause then you'll know the vertigo is gonna grow cause it's so dangerous. You'll have to sign a waiver. How can I help it if
it's too good. Like you're just sitting there like no, and then you gets to the vanilla line and you're like, oh no way, like this matches up too nicely.
I would love to hear that. It sounds wonderful.
It's worth it. Neil Cicieraga is a genius. I'll just say it.
I just looked it up. Apologetics, the faith-based parody group, did indeed do a parody of 1 week.
I mean, yeah.
It's been 1 way, take a look and see. Up to heaven, the Bible says it plainly. False faith and philosophy can't get you to heaven, come back to Jesus. Easy way and the living true. You realize that all those false gods couldn't help you. Yes, he did. He's forgiven me. And he can still get you saved if you say you're sorry. Holy cow, we got you hoodwinked with the pagan god thing. I think you're looking at also rans. But some of this superstition, though it might be called religion, find your schism with the devil in the frying pan.
He'll never top Brody Quest, in my opinion.
It's like the words of One Week with the beat of Smooth Criminal, and it lines up so well.
So I would like to move us over to talking about rankings, because I know my family is upstairs yelling at me right now. Come upstairs. So why don't we move over to ranking? Jeff, what is going to be our ranking system this week?
Well, I think
and also let these guys know how we do it.
This is how we do it.
So every week we rank these songs on a scale of 0 to 5. 0 is I never want to hear this again. 5 is an absolute masterpiece. It's on the playlist. We usually like to say anything from 4 to 5 is a playlist song.
Okay.
Those are the ones we're going to put on our playlist. And we can use decimals. So you could do 4.1, 4.2. Everything is game. We give it an arbitrary ranking system, usually based on something we talked about to rank it on. And I am going to say it only makes sense and fitting, as this is, pretty much a crossover episode. I think we should do it on a scale of 0 to 5 Jerry Springers.
Good call.
How many Jerry Springer episodes is this?
Yes, is this 0 Jerry Springer?
Yeah, I think it should be the number of Jerry Springers. I give it 5 Jerry.
I agree with you, David.
Oh, I thought it was the number of
you as
Jerry
well.
Springers, which I would love to see an episode of Jerry Springer where he's settling a fight between 2 other Jerry Springers.
In your rankings, feel free to name what Jerry Springer episodes they are, whether it be the one where the man has fish taped to him, or which is the thing. But yeah, so I think let's start with.
Can we start with Heidi, just because I know that she's going to get going in a moment?
Let's start with Heidi.
Thank you so much, everybody, and it was lovely to meet all of you. I will start working through the Weird Al podcast very soon. I'm still working on old episodes of this one. So I would give this, because this is on the playlist. This is a classic. It's not my favorite. It's not my favorite version. The studio album is not my favorite version of this. I like the pared down version a whole lot, where they go into their acoustic version of it. I really like that a lot. But it's a jam, and I sing it every time, and I try to keep up with Ed, which is tough to do. So I'm going to give this Jerry point. So 4.7.
Starting with a high bar.
4.7.
Wow.
It's a jam, man. Like I kudos to Ed for his massive rhymes.
All right.
That's my score.
That is a high bar. All right, thanks, Heidi. Andrew, why don't you take one?
Certainly. Again, this is a bop from my childhood, and one that I think kind of characterizes growing up. So I'm going to put this at a 4.7 as well. 4.7 Jerry Springers. It's definitely a big one.
All right. So far, no haterade for this one. All right. My screen got messed up when she dropped out here. Daniel.
Let's see. We're using decimals, so I'm gonna go with I'll give it 4.9 Jerry Springers. Like, it's a great song. Like, ultimately, yeah, it's a great song, and they pushed to make sure that it was like it got out there in some way, shape, or form. And there's a lot of stuff that was working against it, where they could have just gave up and was like, no, we're not going to do this. And this is just going to be a song that we only play at concerts because it's fun and we get to rant and like freestyle and go back and forth with each other. But the fact that they actually sat down, recorded it, put it all together, and was like, yeah, this is the song and everyone's going to hear it. And it exceeded expectations. So 4.9.
Ooh, as always happens, you might have just said the one line that just made me change my score. All right, 4.9. David.
Oh no!
Oh, sorry.
Are we grading this? Are we comparing it to other Bare Naked Ladies songs, or to every other song?
Do you prefer this or the Weird Al song?
I guess I'll give it a 4 Jerry Springers.
4 Jerry Springers, and even 4. All right.
I can't say that it's my favorite thing on the planet, but it is good. It's very well made, and it's fun to listen to.
I promise you.
I will say, how about this? in my Weird Alphabet system for when we did that podcast, I would rank every Weird Al song in an entire list from 1 to 200, whatever. So I
where
will
is
say
it in the ranking?
that 1 week is my number one Bare Naked Ladies.
Nice. There we go. Yeah.
so far. So.
I guarantee you, by the way, you don't have the lowest score for this song. So.
Okay.
At least 1, possibly 2. So. Oh, am I wrong, Tracy?
Let's go to Michael.
Or did you think, or did I surprise you? Okay. All right, go to Michael.
Well, so the way that I view this song is kind of a way I view the Gorillaz song Clint Eastwood, where, it's a song that got a lot of white people to try to rap. And it's a song that... And it's a song that you just magically know the lyrics to at this point, or at least the most.
That's why I go to karaoke.
Negative for the universe.
I mean, what I'll say is that I'll rate this probably if the same way that I would rate the Clint Eastwood song if we ever did a Gorillaz podcast, and that would be at 4.5. Jerry Springers, because I wouldn't give it much higher than that, because the song itself, if you just played it over and over and over and over and over again, or every few songs, it would really start to annoy you, so that's why it's not any higher.
Gorilla A to Z.
Yeah,
that's the Gorillaz alphabetical podcast.
There it is.
All right, I'll go because I gotta balance this out. And this may be my last episode. So I'm also a big Queen fan, and I know first of all, not that this should be a ranking thing, but I'm a big Queen fan. So what is the one line I always hate to hear is, "Hey, Bohemian Rhapsody," because it's the one song everyone knows. I'm a huge Bare Naked Ladies fan. Absolutely adore BNL. Like David said, is this indicative of the rest of their music? Absolutely, 100% not. They're a very diverse group, and a lot of their stuff is different. And I have a lot of 5s in BNL songs, a lot of straight up 5s. This song is hard for me because I do feel like it was written as a freestyle, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's fun. It's a lot of fun as a freestyle. I also like songs that I can connect to on some level too, like emotionally, or that resonate with me, whether it's on a humorous or a serious level. And this one's really hard to do that with because it's so all over the place. It doesn't really stick anyone landing. I feel like it was a fun throwaway song that they did, and it just happened to be the one that made them big. The Gorillaz parallel, I think, is a really good one. So yeah, this one also is one that I think kind of got the overplay thing too. I don't know if I can always pick this one out. If it comes on, if I'm listening to BNL's greatest hits, or I have a BNL playlist on, and 1 week comes on, I might skip it because it's it's just and I want to go to Off the Hook, or I want to go to Call and Answer or Enid or something and just be like blown away. So yeah, I don't think I can go as high as this one. I don't think this one's a full-on playlist song for me. I love the Weird Al version better. I think that is one I will always play. The Weird Al Jerry Springer is one I will always play. I like they did an acoustic when I saw him live, and I thought that was brilliant. But yeah, I'm gonna give this one. I might be the haterade, but I'm gonna give this one a 3.6.
Still there.
A great song. Still a very don't get me wrong, fun song. Yeah, still up there. It's a fun song. Don't get me wrong. Lyrically, it's amazing. I love what they do with the pop culture references, but just can't go quite as high as I would for the playlist songs. So 3.6. And Aaron.
Well, interesting, Jeff. I was, I've taken a journey with this song because I'll be honest, I used to straight up hate this song.
Okay.
Just because you heard it was overplayed. It's like, can I admit that My Heart Will Go On by Celine Dion is actually a pretty good song? Sure. But I heard that song so much in that one summer that it's grating to my ears.
Overplay is a factor.
Yeah, and so it's interesting. And this was my introduction to BNL, but then Tracy played like Brian Wilson for me. Yeah, so I was like, oh wow. So I realized what a range they had. But the interesting thing is, as I have taken this journey, and when I started doing this podcast with Tracy, I had heard perhaps 6 or 7 songs by BNL, and now we've gone through about half their library. So I've definitely learned a lot more about the band and heard a lot more of their songs and come to appreciate their range. But this one was really difficult for me because I don't hate this song anymore. I definitely did. I don't like this song as much as some other ones, but I'm really torn on the playlist question because I feel like if you're gonna create a playlist, this song kind of deserves to be on there. But then again, it's our playlist, and it's not what is the public consciousness, kind of shared dementia of what BNL should be. It's what we think BNL should be. So I have to kind of agree with Jeff here. I think it's a good song. It's certainly much better than I initially gave it credit for. It's obviously very catchy, but it's not going to be on my playlist.
Aaron, let me just hold on one moment. If you're worried about it, whether or not your score will make it fall off the playlist, it won't. You're safe on that.
No. I figured not. I'm not going to give it a 2 or anything. It's definitely it's an above average song. It's a good catchy
right now.
It's
a solid 4.4 on the average, so it's on the playlist.
Yeah. I mean, I think I'd probably be inclined to give it a 3.8 Jerry Springers. I would say the Jerry Springer Weird Al parody is a solid 4 at least. But yeah, it's a good solid 3.8 Jerry's for me.
So we don't have Stefan this week, but he did send us his thoughts on the song. Stefan, what are your thoughts on 1 week?
Oh, on 1 week. Wow. Jeez. I like 1 week. I thought it was creative. It's not one of my favorites, but I know it's one of the most popular one of them for Bare Naked Ladies. But I think it's pretty good, I guess. I think it's a relationship-based song, and I don't know much more about that. I wish I was able to join everybody so that I can get a little bit of feedback about one week, a little bit of insights that I never had before. Yeah, I think it's a good song.
I'm sure you'll listen to the episode once it comes out when you're driving.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, I just gotta find it. Somehow find out how to listen to podcasts. But because I'm old school, figuring things out. Yeah, I think it was okay. And what would I rank it? Though? I think I would rank it like a 3.75. It says one of their most popular, and I'm sure it's made them a good chunk of change, which is cool, but not my favorite. I think Old Apartment's far more creative.
All right, Tracy, bring it home.
All right. Well, I did say earlier, this song to me, Jerry Springer is a better song than this. It did get way overplayed. This is not a great song. I really do like it though. My life would be missing if this song weren't around. Yeah. Is it my favorite BNL song? Not by a long shot. Matter of fact, I don't even in many ways classify it as a BNL song. If I think of it as an Ed song. If people are list BNL songs that I should listen to get to know them, this is not one of the ones I'm going to be you have to listen to 1 week.
Right. I agree.
But I really, at the same time, really enjoy it. I have to listen to it when it comes on. I'm gonna, looking at my scores, I'm gonna actually increase. If I had $1 million, I had it at 4.3. I'm bumping it up to a 4.35 because I gotta give this song a 4.3, and I like If I Had $1 Million better than this song.
2 decimal points. I was never told that. You have never told me that. And in what, a year, 2 years? Wow.
Yeah. From my understanding, from hearing you guys, it seems like with 1 week, this is kind of like with Christopher Nolan and Batman. Those are great movies, but the thing is, with Christopher Nolan, those Batman movies are the least Christopher Nolan movies he's ever made.
Mm-hmm. Gotta go with the Prestige, man. The Prestige or Momentous.
Exactly. I was going to give an appearance this week, but we have a guest on that I think could talk better about this appearance than I will. So I'm going to hand it over to David. David, tell us a little bit about where you know Ed from.
Michael told me that you were saving this for me. I'm so happy that you even knew about one of my fandoms when I was in high school. I was super into the popular web series Red vs. Blue, which of course the Bare Naked Ladies were big fans of the popular web series Red vs. Blue, and I don't know how much have you talked about the Rooster Teeth and Bare Naked Ladies relationship? Okay, because I will always think of Ed as Captain Butch Flowers, aka Agent Florida from Red vs. Blue, where he is like in a they go back in time and meet their original captain, and he's in a couple episodes as with a fantastic character name as well, Captain Butch Flowers. He's a great part, and then they do a whole. He even gets like his character is one of like the it's like an ending gag of one of their later seasons in like season 8 or something like that. Like he gets to be the ending joke as Agent Florida. It's my favorite thing. I don't know if you've talked about this on the podcast, but my favorite story from like Rooster Teeth's time working with him and with Bare Naked Ladies, like, you know, because they did music videos and everything. I remember listening to one of their
we did a group watch of it,
and Bernie Burns.
Yes, we actually group watched it.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Bernie Burns was talking about how he was out to dinner with Ed once, and some stranger, actually came up to the table, and in all seriousness, she said to Ed, "Hey, you're on my list. You're on my It's Okay to Cheat on My Husband list." That apparently is a real thing for some people, and she wanted to take the opportunity.
Wow.
And that inspired the album Silver Ball. No, I'm just no, that's I when I read about that, I went and I actually watched all of Red versus Blue for that exact reason, and I love Red versus Blue now.
Oh yeah. That was like my high school was just like, so I love that show. I haven't watched. They're still making it. They've been going for like almost 20 years now, and they're still making it. I haven't watched it in a while, but yeah, it's good stuff. Some classic internet stuff.
One of the things that I was gonna do, I was gonna throw it to you guys real quick, but we didn't mention the one thing that I think this song is most known for is the beginning two notes, the beginning two sounds and words of this song, the "It's Been." You cannot hear "It's Been" without people then wanting to fill it in with something from this song afterwards.
Or oh my god. Becky.
Yeah, it's the equivalent of somebody.
Yep, exactly. Yep, and then just...
Yep.
Chandler Bing.
Yep.
And so, having said that, I'm going to say it's been a pleasure, but I want people to know where they can hear more of you four.
Well, if you want to hear the four of us together, you can go listen to the archives of The Weird Alphabet, which has had Tracy on as a guest, has had Jeff on as a guest. Has it had Aaron on as a guest? I don't think so. Okay. I don't remember all of our guests. Sorry.
I don't think we have to correct
you would remember.
I don't think so.
But that is, of course, the podcast talking about every Weird Al song in alphabetical order. You know, it's funny. I was looking at podcast stats the other day, which I never do, and saw that like we're still getting just as many downloads a day on that podcast as we did while we were still doing it, which is awesome. I think the fact that there's a definitive endpoint makes it easier for people to be like, oh, I don't have to commit my entire life to this thing. I can just, you know, commit however long it takes to listen to 200 episodes. But yeah, if you want to hear a lot of ridiculous, you can hear that. I know we're all doing other stuff now. I'll let you guys talk about what we're currently doing.
Yeah, let's start with Mike. Okay, so I do a podcast with David, and
Go ahead,
called
Dan.
How Did This Not Get Made, in which we talk about movies, TV shows, and now recently video games that have not been made and the stories that are behind them. We recently finished season 3. We ended it with a Wonder Woman movie and going through the history of Wonder Woman, which was wild. I highly recommend listening to that. So you can go through those archives as well. Michael?
And I also do a podcast with David where we, as well as David's wife, Alexa, discuss and watch every Homestar Runner cartoon, speaking of early thousands nostalgia, in release order. And it's called Come On Fahuguapods, a Homestar Runner podcast.
I would love to be part of that, by the way. I'm a huge Homestar Runner fan.
Absolutely, yeah, of course. We've had a lot of awesome guests as well, especially our Trogdor episode, because everybody knows Trogdor. If you don't know Homestar Runner, you probably know the Burninator. And we had...
the guy from the Word Crimes music video that we talked about.
And we had Mara Wilson on for that episode. So it was also our 100th episode, too. It's a very special, monumentous moment. But that's what we're doing currently.
I'm the only one not currently doing a podcast, but I am still, specifically with David.
Specifically with David.
I am still going strong on my YouTube channel, Virtual Rook, where I review virtual reality games and technology, and it's been going strong and it's been fantastic.
And
I recently watched your Unlimited Box video.
Yes.
Andrew, I think you're also hiding one of the big selling points, which is that you do the full motion VR stuff with all
Yes, I do. In fact, I've signed up recently for an OWO. It's actually, the company's named OWO, but it's a suit that you wear for VR that has medical grade electrodes on it. So if you get stabbed, it feels like you're being stabbed. And
wow.
You've gone full Ready Player One.
Yeah.
Andrew's like, I'm done with this dimension. I need a new one.
But yeah.
I've entered the metaverse and will not leave.
It's really nice there. People sleep in VR now, which I still think is a little strange, but I kind of want to do a deep dive video on that.
That's awesome.
There's a video of a guy who spent, I think, a full week in VR where he figured out a way to
Yes, I saw that.
Yeah, and it messed with his brain
Yeah.
a lot.
He spent how long in VR?
I believe a week.
He spent 1 week?
Oh, no.
Guys, I have to say, it has been a blast having you on. I think every episode from this point forward is just going to seem ordinary. Wouldn't you agree, Jeff?
I would agree.
Amazing segue.
Matter of fact, next week's episode where we talk about ordinary will probably just feel ordinary compared to this,
hold in.
right?
Hold in. That was good. That was good.
Quick. I made that one quick.
That was. You didn't miss a beat on that one.
Guys, it really has been a pleasure having you on, though. Your podcast was an inspiration for this podcast. There were two podcasts that inspired this one, and yours was one of them. And I greatly appreciate you guys coming on to talk about
You're welcome.
It's also probably one of the main reasons I'm still doing what I'm doing. So I just want to give you, if I haven't given you that shout out in a few years, I want to do that.
That's so nice to hear.
And we're glad that you're still doing this show too, though, Tracy. It's like you're like if so many podcasts do just quit after a while, and they but like you keep going, so that's awesome. Like, we love seeing that.
I'm the only one that sticks to the show, but the cast keeps rotating. It's like season 7 of a TV show at this
You're like TLC, no, Destiny's Child and Beyonce Knowles.
Beyonce.
Now I want to see a parody video of Too Many Cooks. It's Too Many Hosts.
Oh man! Speaking of things that sit in your head,
get on that, Jeff.
Or Michael. I could also say if you want to see I would argue one of my favorite Michael moments.
Yes.
Go to YouTube and type Alfred Matthew Yankovic into the search bar.
Oh my gosh.
He has written what I would argue is one of the 2 finest Weird Al tribute parodies of all time.
Thank you. Yeah.
I would say it was the best. Yeah. I would say
the
the
best. I think there's another one out there that's slightly better, but thank you, Jeff.
Yeah, but that one's not an original.
No.
Well, thank you guys very much.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah,
it's been great talking.
I never know how to end the
having us.
episode.
Good night, everyone.
It's over.
Thank you. Yeah.
I got it, Tracy. Thank you to our guests, and thank you to everyone, and to all you listening. We'll see you in 1 week.
Beautiful.
Thanks, that was fun. Don't forget, no regrets, except maybe one.
And I can see that too in the first verse, because if you have a music nerd in the house and you're discussing, what you're going to eat for dinner, someone's still going to randomly toss out like Leanne Rimes or Rick Camford. Yeah, just right. Yeah. What are we going to listen to while we're cooking? Yeah.
I'm just trying to figure out what it is they're trying to make, because it's like, okay, they're talking about making fish, but then it's like, but we're going to use vanilla in this? What dish is being made here?
Yeah. Screw it. We'll just make shakes.
Lanta. Is this true? Because for listening to this song as long as I have, the last 3 lines, it'll still be 2 days till we say we're sorry.
Recording
Does
stopped.
it really say till we say wasabi? Oh, where did Tracy go?
Oh, we lost the host.
He was in mid-drink.
It's down.
I've been
Andrew,
there.
you're the host now. Look at me.
Welcome.
Look at
Wow.
me. I'm the host now.
We've got a host.
Was the
down.
plan all along for the 4 of you to take over the podcast?
Oh my gosh.
Slowly working. I see the hitman finally arrived at his house.
Oh my god.
There was traffic in Maine.
It's been 1 week since anyone's heard from Tracy.
And 1 week since we heard from Tracy.
You know what's messed up is we just saw his last known photo.
Oh my gosh, you guys, if that was real, this would be so creepy.
All right.
Like the last photo of Tracy.
So I definitely, during this time, had a tab open on my computer where I was just looking up quotes from Money Plane. Do you know what Kelsey Grammer's character is named in that movie? His name is the Rumble.
Right? The Rumble, that's right. But he's like something, the Grouch the Third or whatever, and the Rumble is his nickname.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense.
Oh my!
Here's a quote from the movie. You want to bet on a dude fucking an alligator? Money Plane.
What
was the idea of the movie? Is that they can like do ridiculous gambling on this because
it's international waters, right? So,
but it's not water; they're international air where anything is legal.
Wait, I thought you would have to be flying over international water though, because borders.
Yeah, I think
go
so.
all the way up.
So.
I think is the way it's all defined.
Right. I don't know. Maybe they go into space.
No, it just keeps on going.
In space, no one can hear you gamble.
The moon is owned by whoever's country it happens to be over at the time.
Right.
That means sometimes, just sometimes, I own the moon.
I mean, but the problem with that, Andrew, is that we live in California, meaning we don't own properties, so we can't own the moon.
That's fair. That's very true.
Wasn't it like Apple Jacks? They were selling like a square inch of land that was in Ireland or something like that.
Oh yeah.
You know that Tracy is sitting home right now freaking out.
Oh, he's totally freaking out right now. Yeah, because the recording stopped too. So
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, my recording's still going, so
missing all of this podcast gold.
Yeah, I mean,
His loss, yeah.
Yeah, just put it on the Patreon.
Yeah.
And we needed this kind of gold. This has been a rough week, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, losing Meatloaf.
Just stay on it and we'll
this week,
reconnect.
Losing, who else died this week that I was like, holy shit.
Louis Anderson.
Meatloaf,
Louis Anderson.
Yeah.
Right.
He said, just stay on. It's going to reconnect everyone.
Just a couple of weeks
blows.
since Betty White, unfortunately.
Betty White.
I know, Betty White.
2020 the sequel.
So sad.
2020 the sequel.
Yeah, 2020 colon 2.
2020.
Oh man, my wife came home the day that Betty White died, and I guess People magazine had put out an issue.
Yeah, I saw
called
it
Betty
already.
White turns 100. I'm like,
100.
oh, man,
dude,
that's harsh. Yeah.
It hasn't all been bad news though. Weird Al movie.
Daniel Radcliffe.
Daniel Radcliffe. Which
man,
I just
and a patent is Dr. D. Oh.
I just started finally watching Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, and no disrespect to Daniel Radcliffe, but Rachel Bloom would have been the perfect casting.
Oh,
for
yeah,
Weird Al.
Speaking of which,
Shut up! Oh my sheep!
what happened?
Brady does it. I still love him though.
What is going on?
Celebrity died.
Okay, so we're diehard Patriots fans in our house.
Oh.
So, and we're watching the Tampa Bay LA Rams game, and they were down, like it was like 20-3, and then
They've come back.
27-6, and now it's 27-26.
Wow.
Tampa Bay, yeah, Tommy Brady. You don't fuck with the GOAT. Like, don't fuck with the GOAT.
My Eagles
That
can't do
goat
that.
doesn't love you.
No, now it's tied. Tied 27-27. Holy shnikes.
But no, if anyone here is interested, I was doing live
Sorry.
tweets for my the tiers of my Patreon, which Heidi, by the way, you're actually eligible for. But
Yeah,
for
I know.
the
We're doing
kick,
Better Off Dead, bitch.
okay, cool, yeah, all right, we'll schedule that. But for the Kickstarter for my album,
I'm such a classy lady, Jeff.
yeah, hey, well, yeah, I mean, we've gotten some great picks, honestly.
I'm a
Someone
lady.
DM'd me and they picked UHF. So I said, you know what? We're not doing that as a live tweet. I'm gonna set up a scener room and we're gonna watch it the right way and bring people
my
in that
God,
can talk
Noah.
everything. So
Maybe
Wednesday
I'll
at
give
9
mine to
o'clock, I'll post
Noah.
links on Twitter. If anyone wants to join, you're all
Maybe
welcome.
I'll give mine to Noah because he would freak about that. He has. Have you seen his Spatula City T-shirt? Because
Well, no, you can pick your own one. Though. This was one someone picked, so you still have your own.
Oh, okay.
You yeah. We can do it as a
UHF,
scene or
he thinks
something
it's
too.
the greatest movie ever.
It is the
made.
greatest
Granted,
movie ever made. I agree.
It is. Like he's 12. My son's
Wow.
12.
Not even
I'm
Weird Al
raising him
agrees
right.
with that.
No, it's like Citizen Kane UHF.
UHF.
About,
Yeah. I mean, come
And then
on.
Money Plane.
and then money plane. And then money plane. Right? Yes, exactly. That is the
Exactly.
trifecta. of-
And we're back. So the new
Hi,
host-
boss.
Hey,
How's it
we
going?
finished the podcast.
Hey, Tracy.
Yeah. We also
Tracy.
didn't say anything
Recording
bad
in
about
progress.
you at all.
Yeah, they definitely did not try and take over the podcast.
No.
You're currently muted.
And now you're muted.
Let me
That's
guess.
fine
you're-
because I get to hear it all when I go back to edit it all. So
No, you don't because it stopped recording when you went off.
Well, it only stopped recording for me. Of course, everyone else that's sending me their audio.
Oh,
My Audacity never worked today,
we
so
still
I
have
said
to
a
do
lot of
that?
bad words.
So
There's
right
like a weather balloon over the swamp. Yeah, I don't know.
Did your knee hit the button again, Tracy?
No, for some reason, all my internet in the whole house went down, but my router was like, "Yeah, you're fine." I'm like, "I'm not fine. Everyone's internet just
fine.
went out." So
To celebrate joining Pantheon Podcasts, Rock Camp, the podcast, the official podcast of Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp, is giving away a guitar signed by Mike Portnoy of Dream Theater, Marty Friedman, formerly of Megadeth, and legendary shredder Zakk Wylde, plus our rockstar counselors like Vinny Appice, Monty Pittman, and more. To enter to win, simply follow, rate, and review our podcast on your preferred platform, and that's all you have to do. For more information, go to rockcamp.com/podcast.